All right. Hello, everyone, and my name is Bruce. Welcome to A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie, The City of Lost Children. Today, we brought some special guests with us. The Crafting Gamer was one of the men that suggested this movie, and Six
Hello.
Nations. Hey, how you doing, Crafting Gamer?
I feel like the dude that's always on Hollywood Squares. It's like, here we got some talented artists, and here's the guest doofus here, who's always on these episodes. Hi guys.
I like that show. And Shadow Stevens is very, very witty man. So, we watched a movie today from 1995 called The City of Lost Children, courtesy of the Crafting Gamer. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem.
This movie, if you've not seen it yet, if you can see it, see it. I'm going to recommend it as a watch. But we got to discuss this film.
Caveats.
This movie's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to classify this film. Like surrealism, Art Deco.
I'd say dark sci-fi fantasy.
It has steampunk elements, surrealism, a hint of German expressionism. It's definitely a dark fantasy. And like I've said a couple of times already, it's like a fever dream of a movie. Like you watch it and you're like, holy crap. But it's visually impressive. The story is
Stunning.
is kind of bonkers, but it's intriguing.
It's visually stunning.
It will take you a couple of watches to get a lot of the nuances and details. Unless you're, a purveyor of psychedelics, then you might like just slip right in. If you like Brazil, you're gonna like this movie.
Is Brazil
Terry
another
Gilliam's stuff. Yeah, Terry Gilliam did Brazil, and it's got some fantastical elements, surrealism.
I've never seen that one, so I can't compare it to that. It reminded me of a lot of other movies that I watched when I was younger, but I've never seen one quite as visually stunning as this one. This one was very rich in detail and textures, and it just you couldn't help but look at everything, not just the actors. You were just looking at the props and the walls and just everything because it was so. It just
Tons of detail.
Yeah, it absorbed you into it. You just couldn't help but do it. That's why I recommend seeing it more than once, to watch it for the story and everything, and then watch it the next time to try to see more of the story and the details, because you can't really do that because you're so busy trying to just pull in all the detail from this movie because it's so enriching. And the children are so cute. I just loved them. I thought they were adorable. And the little girl, she was 11 when she made this movie. She did great. I mean, she's a very good
unfortunately,
actress.
she was only in a couple of movies, if I remember correctly.
Wow, she was
She did.
very, very talented.
What's his name? The Chilean actor that played Crank. Like, that guy's had a long history of doing theater and film.
Mm-hmm.
And he's primarily a bad guy because the way that he looks, he fits the role of the antagonist pretty good. He did an excellent job. Like, that dude was creepy as fuck.
Well, if anybody wants to know, if they haven't seen the movie, I'm dressed as one of the Siamese twins that were one of the really horrible people in this movie that would use children to steal. And that's who I'm dressed up like. Here's a picture, kind of like, let's see if you can see it, of the Siamese twins. You see them?
Hold on.
Yeah,
There you go.
There we are.
So I was trying to.
They're the women that run the orphanage in the film, and they're kind of like
Problem
a
is,
pagan
Janet,
ass
is you're too
character.
sorry. Problem is, Janet,
Go
is you're
ahead.
too happy.
Oh,
They
yeah.
they are grumpy.
Yeah, they're very stoic, hardly expressionless, But that's
Yeah.
hard for me to do that. So I
And that's one of the reasons why we like you.
Thanks. But yeah, it was
you have
really
a
good.
soul.
I've never seen this movie, and it was just so rich in detail. I mean, it was stunning. You just couldn't help but go, it's like going to a museum that you've never been to and getting to see some of the, most wonderful things that you'd be interested in seeing. It's like that. It's like you're like a little kid in a candy store, just absorbing all the beautiful textures and colors. Like Bruce was saying, the way they got it to look the way they did is they covered everyone with white face, basically, and then they adjusted the camera until the white face turned flesh toned. So that's why all the colors are just so rich and vibrant, and deep. The water, when it was moving and stuff, it was the texture of it and everything was so neat. I've never seen anything like it. I thought it was beautiful.
Gives it that surreal, dreamlike quality.
By myself, Bruce.
Say again, Janet?
I said you could take me off by myself.
Okay, fine.
That's all right. Thank you. But yeah, it was. I loved it. I thought it was so hard for me to get into the movie and really pay attention to what was going on in the story because I was so busy. Not so much right at the beginning because it was so dark, but once they got underground and stuff, it was way more details and stuff, and so much stuff to absorb for their surroundings. Oh, yeah. It was really hard to just focus on the story, especially if it's the first time you've ever seen it.
The opening scene kind of kicks you right in the ghoulies.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could show this to my cousin's kids because they're 12.
I would.
No.
How old are they?
They would have to be supervised, though.
They're 12.
No. You just. Sorry.
I don't know if I can show this to them and then turn them back loose. And, I get a nasty phone call from my cousin, and she's like, Bruce, my sons are waking up in the middle of the night saying Santa Claus is there. And there's multiple Santa Clauses.
Can you show a few photographs of different parts of the different sets and stuff to kind of give them an idea of what we're talking about the
this movie,
fabulous view of what it looked like, the textures and the colors. It was very dreamlike. The whole thing was about dreams.
Back it up a bit. Yeah. So the opening scene is basically a nightmare. It starts off like it's Christmas time and the kids enjoying Christmas, and lo and behold, there's Santa Claus. He's a little bit off, but whatever. And then there's more Santa Clauses.
You see that? Wait,
they start appearing.
Go back one.
And then things get all warped.
The fisheye lens on here.
Mm-hmm.
He uses this a lot, and that's what gives you the dream-like vision when you're, it's almost like
actually the fisheye, the dream sequences are supposed to be when it's wavy. The fisheye is supposed to be what the brain sees.
For me, when I'm watching it and I'm seeing it through this fisheye lens, it's almost like pulling me into a dream. That's what I'm.
Okay.
As a viewer, that's what you get. That's this overall sense, the way I felt whenever they did this stuff. Because like when you're having a dream and you're a kid and you're trying to run from something and it's like you're running in slow motion and your feet are like heavy weights, you could barely lift them. That's how I felt every time that he did this part right here like this with the fisheye lens. I felt like the hallway was getting longer. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
The way they do that, that's what it made me feel like. So go ahead, Bruce. You can change more pictures. I love it. Look at how eerie that is.
Yeah, I was going to say that particular fisheye lens was from the character's perspective. That was Herman.
Yeah.
It was the brain in the fish tank, and that's all steampunk.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
it
no,
was so
I tell you what, I
creepy
got
and
reminded
beautiful
of
at the same time.
This
of a
is
movie.
Emmett. Emmett is the originator, the geneticist or scientist, if you will,
Mhm.
who created what are the bad guys in the movie,
The clones,
Crank,
basically.
and his clones
Hmm.
are all
I thought it was really
retarded
cool
clones.
how they were able to make the clones, and they didn't know really that who was who. You know what I mean? They couldn't separate themselves from who was first, who was second. You know, like some other movies I've seen, they've used like number one, number two, number. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
What
Even in
was
Star
the
Trek.
most recent movie? What Happened to Monday? I think was the name of the movie.
Mhm.
And it was about clones, and it was a dystopian future where like you could only have one kid. Well, there was 7 of them, and
Mhm.
6 of them knew where everybody else was. One went missing, and the whole movie revolves around them looking for their sister, and they got to pretend that they're one person as they interact with people.
Hold on, Six Nations. Is that movie based on a story or trilogy of stories by Philip Jose Farmer called Day World?
I am not certain,
Okay, because
so I haven't read those stories. Now I got to look that up.
Philip Jose Farmer wrote a series of stories called Day World, where the protagonist finds out that when he goes back to his pod to sleep at night, he actually sleeps for 6 days a week, and somebody else gets out of their pod on the next day, and they start their day. Well, he figures out how to break the code so he can go enjoy 6 days a week that he wasn't getting before. And so, like, there's a couple days where, like, he even changes sex. He, like,
Yeah, but
dresses up as a woman.
they get
And
greedy.
yeah, because he wants his time, and the fucking authorities that are controlling all this shit in this dystopian fucking America that he lives in
Mhm.
realize this, and they start going after him, and it's an unsatisfying ending for the first book, but the others in the series, it kind of does elate you a little bit, but you must read. And if any of my friends from Peoria are out there, rest in peace, my friend, my mentor who I never met, Philip Jose Farmer, because fuck, we miss you.
Sorry.
Fucking see, and less than 6 months later, the guy that I didn't realize lived there, but I admired his work all throughout my adulthood, he dies. Like, what?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, this movie was kind of based off of Children of Men and Blade Runner.
Mm,
So it might be a happy coincidence. Now I got to read that book because that sounds really interesting. Or that series, I should say.
Philip Jose Farmer is going to take you into a deep dive of happiness and mind expansion. That's all I'm going to say.
the movie basically, to tell the people that are watching, basically it's about a scientist. What was his name? Crunk, something like that.
Frank, I believe.
Yeah, he kidnapped.
That was the
children.
antagonist.
He kidnaps children and he tries to steal their dreams, hoping to stop himself from dying of old age, because he thinks that taking their dreams is going to make him stay young and youthful.
Actually, it's a little bit more, it's a little less that and a little bit more spiritual. He can't dream.
Yeah.
And he wants to have dreams.
Yeah, he doesn't
and he
have
thinks children's dreams.
Yeah.
And he thinks children's
dreams. The fact that he can't dream.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he can't dream is aging him prematurely. All the other clones are slightly retarded.
Yeah, and they're narcoleptic.
In a literal. Yeah. They have.
They can sleep.
Narcolepsy and various defects. Like even their mother, who was cloned, she's a midget.
Well,
and so, like, all the clones have some sort of fault.
They have some kind of defects. They all have defects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so the originator, Emmett, in a story from from Herman, the brain in the tank.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the level-headed,
Now, can I ask a question about
second
that?
best character.
Did that explain where the brain came from? Did the scientists put the brain in there?
He was a clone as
the
well.
Way, I'm about to say
Yeah,
the way
he
I
cloned
understood
the
it,
brain.
he was the closest thing to a perfect clone. Problem is, all he was cloned as was a brain.
Yeah, but he was really smart. I
Yeah.
felt he was even smarter than the scientist. You know what I mean?
So when he tells that fairy
way
tale,
above
that's
everyone.
basically the entire story of their lives.
Mhm. It's all factual. That's what pissed off the
Yeah.
scientist because he was right about all of it. The brain, I mean, his story. So yeah, I just thought it was really, really well done. The brain in the tank, you have a picture of that? Because that reminded me, just like I said, when I first saw it, or the first thing that flashed in my head was the time traveler in Dune, in the original Dune. Because that's what it reminded me of, because it was really, really intelligent.
Space navigators.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, navigator. But that's what it reminded me of.
Oh, and Janet, the thing I explained before, the thing that looks like a brain and a giant pussy and with all kinds of venereal diseases, that is a navigator.
Yeah, okay, the navigator. That's what it reminded me of. Now, this brain looked more bright and vibrant. You know what I mean? In the tank, with
Yeah,
it's lit
well,
up,
if you look at
and it had
if you look at him
tentacles
compared to
sticking
the
out from
entire,
it.
yeah, if you look at him compared to most of this entire movie, he's
Yeah,
the
he's
brightest
bright.
thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's meant to represent. He's the most level-headed, most closest thing to human you'll find in the entire movie.
Yeah, he was very vibrant, and his voice was very not annoying. You know, very calming almost. He had a very calming, soothing voice, and he was very vibrant. So he wasn't scary to look at. You know,
that image there is very steampunk, very BioShock.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It looks like stuff that Crafting Gamer and Bruce paint. You know, that's what it reminded me of. You guys' little figurines that you're always painting it's very steampunkish to me.
Yeah. Well, both Bruce and I seem to have a kind of a fondness for a mid-level evenness, or our likes kind of cross over. He likes much darker, not necessarily grim, but dirtier. I prefer on the slightly cleaner side, but we also
likes his more used.
Yes, but we also go for slightly darker colors in general. So he's dark and dirty. I'm grim bright. Because if I use a bright color, I'll darken it down, making it all dirty looking.
But I've never seen anything at all. I've seen a lot of really, really good movies, but this one was so visually stunning. It was almost about as stunning as the cartoon that we watched. That I said didn't really have a script. The story was no good.
Very nice.
Visuals were just beautiful and breathtaking. That's what this movie was like. It was watching art, moving, living art. If you just took all the words and you just put music to it, that's how beautiful it was. At least it was to me.
It's a French film, and from what I've experienced seeing French film, it's either highly artistic and stylistic,
Mm-hmm. It was,
or it's like very surreal.
Music and visualization. You know, if you took a beautiful song and you laid it out and to make it so you could see it, that's basically what the colors and the beauty of it. To me, it was almost like a beautiful orchestra or something of music. It was so pretty. I thought it was beautiful, and the children were I just wanted to kiss and hug all of them. They were so cute. The little boy that constantly ate. Oh, he was adorable.
Yeah, he was the second most. Well, no, I'd say the brain and him. He is the most human of all the characters. The child, second most human is the brain, even though it doesn't have a body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that way.
Yeah, it wasn't scary at all. Like I was thinking it would be.
Yeah.
Denray, the small child was the most human out of all of them.
This is a movie called Crank High Voltage with a lot of people's hero Jason Statham and Chico, who from the neck up they survived from the first movie, and he's in a jar, basically of brine fluid. And at the end of this movie, he gets terminated. But that's what I kept getting reminded of when I'm watching the brain float in this brine tank, and I'm like, I don't know if I should be discussing that or not, because I don't want to admit that I've seen the Crank movies. Those are movies
I never seen it, but I just knew it wasn't from this movie that we just watched.
Yeah.
I will back you up on that. I have seen the Crank movies, and I enjoyed them.
I don't know.
I will die on that hill.
Those are the movies that I heard the main character was rubbing up on an old woman. It's like,
It's
hilarious.
stupid
Like,
fun.
I can pass that.
It's got a lot of sight gags. The storyline is just freaking ridiculous, but it works for the film.
For the film, it works. I would not suggest watching it with your older relatives or your younger relatives. I would definitely admit to watching it by yourself. And that's
Yeah, now
about it.
see
Or
that scene.
or
he
if you
just
have a
showed
close
at the beginning,
group of
it
friends.
looks like an old oil rig, out in the middle of the ocean. See,
Yeah.
that's what it looks like to me. Even
I
when
think
they
it's
were
supposed to be, honestly. I actually think that's what it's supposed
It's
to be.
an oil rig, and then there's the port town. Those are the two sets in the movie, and it's done in such a way where you don't even notice that it's just basically two sets.
Yeah, and basically every single bit of this movie was filmed on a soundstage. None of it was outside, but they did a beautiful job at making your mind think they were outside on the ocean and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the dock scene when the dock is collapsing and you see the water.
Can't remember that dude's name.
It was
He
amazing.
is a good actor.
Yeah, he did really good for multiple characters at making you believe that he wasn't the same person. You know what I mean? Even though they looked the same, they acted differently. You know what I mean?
These guys were creepy. The
Did a good job at it.
Cyclops cult.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I
A
would
bunch
not.
of blind men that get cybernetic enhancements, steampunk style.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, well, if you notice, it
how
was
much
one of the
you use
clones.
that lens? That's a lot. There's a lot of scenes that look like that. That's scary right there.
Well, if you
Yeah,
notice, it was one of the clones that was actually working up one of the Cyclops' eyes. So even though they're effectually retarded, they're also super damn smart.
Well, hug them. The kids were adorable, and they did such a good job at.
Yeah, retarded in the medical sense.
They
Yeah.
were so sweet. All of the little kids. So many of them. Look how cute.
YouTube's going to flag the hell out of this, I bet.
Why? Why would they
There's
flag?
Because
still-
we're saying retarded repeatedly.
Oh,
Started
okay.
a lot, and that's fine. If you know what, YouTube, you're giving you're
YouTube
giving
can
money-
fuck off. I am literally legally retarded.
Yeah, but you see this fisheye lens on those toys and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was scared the shit out of me. I mean, I don't know why, but I've had so many nightmares about toys that kill you and stuff. And that's
It
what
reminds me of the old Night Gallery series, whenever they were doing some weird trippy stuff.
Yeah, you never thought you could be afraid of Santa Claus until you see this movie. Very creepy.
Yeah, this movie.
Look at that.
Fucking,
Oh.
There's the star of the film, right there. The only normal kid out of the bunch. He's not a cutthroat thief. He's not a murderer.
He's so cute. Oh, it's breathtakingly cute.
Ron Perlman, who plays one, is kind of like a man-child, strong man.
Well, he just seems slow. He's very slow. He's like a slow learner. He's one of those kids.
Well, the scene that really gives you the impression he's supposed to be a fully grown man-child is the scene with the woman. Instead of acting like an adult, he acts more like
a virgin.
Yeah, I'm about to say a young teenager, like.
Well,
13
he acts
at
like a
most.
man who hasn't experienced,
Adulthood,
a
really.
real good roll in the hay. That's how it came across to me. He just seemed.
He hasn't gone past kicking shins.
Yeah, he's not very life experienced. You could tell that at the very beginning when his Barker has a heart attack, I guess, or a stroke, whatever it was that he died from.
I was stabbed in the kidney.
Yeah, he was very very distraught by his death, realizing he was alone. That how am I going to do this now? He's gone, and you could tell by the way he acted in that he was not mentally equal with another person that would be the same size and age as him. So
his backstory, Ron Perlman's backstory was that when he became an adult, he became a sailor and worked on a whaling vessel, and then found himself on hard times working as a strongman for the circus. A cutthroat comes in, or technically it was the kids. They were pickpocketing everybody in the crowd. The Barker noticed, and then the kids' protector shivved him in the kidney.
Yeah, I saw that, but this to me looked like a street fair or something like that.
Yeah,
because that's what we have in New Orleans. Okay, you're walking along and you can see so many different acts, people dancing, swallowing swords, blowing fire, all that, and it's all along the street. And you have people, one or two people that might be, a barker telling you about this, or we'll guess your weight, or whatever different stuff. And that's what this reminded me of. But the way, look at the textures and stuff in the background, even though it's dark. And you got the fog. It looked like an old London street or something like that, from back when Jack the Ripper was running around. That's the vibes that I got from this whole scene.
I'm just going to say that he was 45 when he filmed this. And because of the makeup they used to make him look like he was younger, because everybody has a smoother face with powder on. He looks like he's about 25 from the neck up.
That's what I was going to say. He looked very young in this movie.
But he's 45 when he filmed this movie. And
he was young when he did Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, he was.
And his sorry, go ahead.
No, the performance I was going to say that reminds me of this is I think it's called Hard Times or Tough Times with Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson did that film in 1975. He's 50 years old, bare-chested throughout the entire film, looking like a brick shithouse.
Yeah, and he's got a barrel chest too.
Ron Perlman looks a lot like him.
His co-star in this movie, the young girl, she's only 11 when this was filmed, and she was phenomenal, a little actress. I mean, she was so believable. I don't know. I just fell in love with her. I just thought she was the shining star of the whole movie, even though her little brother basically was, it was based around him more, for the whole thing about this way the story was going. But she was phenomenal little actress. Look how cute all of them are. Oh, I just love them. They're so cute. Oh, all this stuff was just tough. Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch it.
Dominique Pinon, who plays the clone here.
The clone?
Yeah, he's a very accomplished actor. If you saw him in this, he was also in Delicatessen, which I've not seen yet. And he's also
I haven't seen that either.
Alien Resurrection. Guy's been at work for years. And he's known for...
He's very talented.
In the 90s, he had a run with this director that happened like 3 or 4 times, and he did pretty friggin' well, I gotta say. So I'm pretty proud of this. Like he's just a fantastic actor. He's not the biggest guy out there, but he's a fucking big actor, especially overseas in France. I just love the look of this movie. This movie satisfies like the steampunk or post-apocalyptic side of what I want to see. The look of this movie is absolutely completely on point.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at the work and the detail that they did for the backdrop. Just for the backdrop. I mean, it might have CGI in it, but it wasn't that great back in 1994, was it?
No.
So I'd say it's probably
you can kind of tell with the green mist that they used.
Oh yeah,
it's a little bit dated.
Right.
It wasn't horrible, but
dated.
you could tell it's aged.
The detail in that picture,
part of it.
That's painted. I'm sure that's a painting.
Matte painting. There's a matte painting.
Just gorgeous. I mean, it's just art. I mean, scene after scene after scene. I just kept. You can't help but be absorbed into that, and it takes you away from the acting. You know what I mean? Because you're just. I was at least. I was just. I mean, look at the detail in the step below his feet. Okay, and the bricks behind his head. I mean, all that. It's just beautiful. Oh, I just loved it.
It reminds me of silent film. If you've taken some time to watch some silent film, you notice that they put all the budget into visuals. So the matte paintings in the back, the settings, even the costumes, even since it's black and white, but they're vivid enough in color where you can see the contrast in the grays.
His hair looks so red.
It's similar to that.
This whole movie, his hair is just the reddest redhead I've ever seen. And that guy was disgusting. Oh, he gave me the creeps. Every time I see him, I'm having a nightmare.
Daniel Emilfork, if I'm pronouncing that right.
He was pretty old, too. He was a pretty old guy, wasn't he, already, when they made this movie?
Yeah, he was in his 70s because he passed away in 2006, 2007, something like that.
And she was adorable. The actress that played Mother. Yeah, she was adorable. She was a tiny little thing. And she was a good actress, too.
She played in Swimming Pool and Girl on the Bridge as well.
The scene where she is dying and she's got the blood starting to come out of her mouth and stuff, and her doughy eyes. Oh, it was very sad. It made me very sad for her, even though she, is a bad person. I still felt for her.
This is one of the few scenes where you get to see the 20s and 30s feel of this town, the 20th century vibe.
Aside from her huge boobs, she does look like a flapper.
Yeah, but look at it. Look at all the different shades of red in this one scene. It was just so enveloping. I mean, I can't help it. I really love scenes and props, costumes. I just love it because to me, that just makes it pop. It just you just get sucked into it. You can't help but get sucked into it. It's so.
This was hilarious.
Oh yeah, look at all that.
I love that scene.
That is a treasure trove right there for a kid that's homeless.
And the kid is constantly eating.
Yeah, he never really stopped throughout the film. I understood him throughout the film.
Oh, he was
kind of like
cute.
Brad Pitt in the Ocean's movies. Every scene he's in, he's munching on something.
Amazing. But look at all the detail, just what's on top of this machine. Look at all that. The different heights.
Actual vacuum tubes.
Mm-hmm. Just
how difficult is that to find nowadays?
It's really
now
hard.
That we got flat screen TVs. Holy crap.
Awesome. And it's so bright. In this one's not as bright as some of the scenes, but in some of the scenes it was very, very bright. It was a center of attention. It drew you into it. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Like I said, I think that was purposeful with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And his voice being so soothing for the children and everyone basically that listens to him. Oh, it's very, very
like I said, I'm not absolutely hateful of this movie. I just didn't understand what the fuck I saw. That's my biggest problem with this film. Like I saw
give it a few views.
Yeah,
I think I need to be on some shrooms or something.
Well, definitely whoever okay, the thing is, like I said, what about the script? Okay, the script, I felt like someone was definitely under the influence of something to write it. Okay, with the details and stuff of what the scenes would be like, what they'd look like. But the visualization through the director's view, you know, because he's walking around visualizing what he wants us to see. That's the person I think was doing a little something because it was a genius. I mean, his vision of it, you know, to get the artists to draw out the storyboards and stuff for him to help the people do the sets and the costumes and the things like that. He's a genius. I mean, that's what I would say about this director. I mean, it was just
a visually and thematically complex film.
Very complex.
You watch it and it's like, bam, in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start getting into the groove. And then let's say you watch it a second time, third time, however many times it takes to actually follow the storyline. And then you're like, okay, I understand it. But then you start looking at the other characters, the city, the whole vibe. And you can start feeling it away.
Yeah.
And it covers nostalgia, lost youth, dreams, the fears that adults have of, like, you know, do I know what I'm doing? Where am I in this world? Misspent youth.
Well, it's like
all sorts of complex psychological things to think about.
Right? Your life is flying by.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are you living it right? You know, are you making the right decisions? All that. But it's the visualization through the director's view that he was able to get the costumer, the set person, the prop person, the actors, everyone on the same page for us to visualize it the way he's seeing it and wants us to see it. That's what I just can't explain enough. When you have a really good director that works harder at making sure everyone, you know, going back and checking to make sure everybody's coming together with the storyboards and everything each day when you're setting up to do a scene, you could tell he did that. He was very, very involved in every aspect. At least that's how it comes across to me, even down to the editing. This was a movie that the director actually cared about all the details. Because sometimes I get upset because the movie was so good, but the director didn't have enough love for it to make sure that this part was right. I don't know how to explain it any different than that, but it was so refreshing to see something that I've never seen, but to have so much love from a director to make the vision for me to see it, you know, to love me enough to give me his vision. I don't know how to explain any different than that, but that's how I felt watching it.
I liked it.
You're still doing a good job explaining the fact that this movie is outstanding from a visual perspective.
Oh, it's breathtaking. It's art. It's definitely art. This is definitely a piece of art. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it's really easy for me to see. Mm-hmm. I'm so easy to point out as to how this guy got picked to work on Alien 4 or Alien Resurrection, because Alien Resurrection did not feel like an Alien film. It felt like something different, like they were trying to go a different direction with it. And you have the script from Joss Whedon, who that movie it doesn't feel like an Alien film. It just doesn't. It feels like it's a foreign French film. This movie here is the stereotypical foreign film that American audiences go in and sit down and watch. And about 5 minutes in, they just stop munching on popcorn, just kind of staring blissfully at the screen, because they don't comprehend everything that's transpiring in front of them. Maybe they didn't get a comic book to read before the movie started so they could get a quick primer on what's going on, or they don't have the campaign box set available at home to read up on who the major characters are and why is the world so green. Maybe whatever it is, like I completely was out of my element, and I wasn't painting figures while watching this film. I'm trying to watch it, and I'm going, what the fuck is going on here? What the fuck is going on here? And I'm like, going, okay, let's go on Wikipedia. Okay, let's go on Reddit. Let's read about this because this movie's kind of interesting. It's intriguing. But I didn't catch 80% of the film because I was so taken in by the visuals that I really didn't notice plot, or I really didn't notice like super strong script writing. I noticed a lot of other things like editing's tight, sound design is top notch, visual elements amazing. For me, the script, I'm gonna have to watch this movie again because I didn't see it. I didn't comprehend what was going on with the goddamn film. Like, it's a great
Yeah,
movie.
it was hard. It was really hard to follow the story because you were so involved in looking at everything because there was so much packed into this movie. It's definitely a movie that you'd have to, I would say, I would recommend seeing it at least twice because the next time I watch it, I'll pay more attention to the story.
Like I mentioned off screen, it reminded me of my first viewing of Akira, the anime. Now, granted, I had a little bit of access to the comics before watching that, but it took me 3 sit downs. In fact, that day I watched it 3 times just to understand what the hell that movie was about. It was visually impressive. The story was all over the place. They had to like chop up major bits to condense it into a 2-hour movie, but it was freaking phenomenal. This here had similar feel to it when I first watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after 3 or 4 viewings, I finally got the story, and then I started watching it occasionally to like focus on different aspects, like the Oculus or Cyclops cult. Like that was some trippy shit. You can definitely tell that there was some secret society stuff influenced in that through the visuals.
Very scary.
Like you could pick this movie apart on a psychological and social level and have hours of content to talk about.
Yeah, this movie, just a 5-minute scene would take us 2 hours to fully dissect and give you guys the basic rundown and the complex motivations behind characters, the music selection, and why would they prefer to have these special effects used in this way here instead of going something else. I think this movie is a rich cornucopia. This is a type of film made for schlups and people like us, because
there was something I read about it.
It gives you something to discuss. This is not a movie you just like go in, eat a bucket of popcorn, and leave. Be like, yeah, it was good. Because like the entire time afterwards, I'm there trying to go.
Howdy, Snort. Good to see you in the chats.
Energy of the Universe, how you doing? And Snort Poopus, how you been? I'm not degrading this movie on the quote-unquote lack of a script. The script is there, the story's there, but it's buried, and you have to immerse yourself in this to understand it. If you're not willing to put in the time for it, I don't think you're going to really enjoy it. But from what I'm seeing and what I've saw and what I'm hearing right now from my co-streamers, I don't feel like this was a bad selection for movie viewing at all. I think this is a great film. I just didn't get it on my first viewing. I didn't have the right mindset, if that makes any sense.
Well, I had no idea what to expect because I'd never seen it, and I didn't want to really watch a trailer or anything. The only thing I did was look up the characters so I could try to figure out if I had anything that I could try to dress up as in theme or something, because I didn't know anything about it. That's the hardest part for me doing this, is not having more time to find out more about the movie details about, like we got to do when we did the one that got the worst record in the Guinness Book of World Records for the worst worst movie ever, right?
Treasure Island.
Yeah.
And Treasure Island still outperformed Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, but nobody wants to admit that yet.
But the thing is, like, the character that I chose it because of what I thought I could actually put together, the wig and the colored shirt and everything that the twins were wearing. But I didn't really know who they were. I didn't get a chance to look them up or anything, and it was kind of hard to figure out who they were. I just knew that they were evil people to be able to treat children the way they were, and they were hideous. They were horrible women, but they were interesting, and they called him the octopus, basically, because she had 4 legs, and 4 arms, because they were like, it looked like they were joined at the hip or something like that, by the way that they moved around and stuff, because it was 2 different actresses playing them. So
yeah, they didn't move around a lot because they had to share a prosthetic leg.
Mm-hmm.
Their legs were together, and so they're not walking around in the full body shots. They're moving around when their legs are off scene, so they can actually have mobility. But when they're showing below the waist, you get to see a 3rd leg, and you're like, what
with
the
that
hell?
Frankenstein boot.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the machine that she had, the organ that she would grind for the monkey, like you'd see the guy on the road that has the monkey, and it jumps around and takes a little hat and dances and stuff for you to put money in it. And she had that box, and she would play it. It would make people do horrible things to another person. So, there was just so much in it. I definitely going to have to watch it again to get all the stuff that I missed, because it was just so much going on, the whole movie and every single scene. There was multiple people in every scene too, so that made it really really hard to really follow it, especially because I was like a little kid going, wow, just like, in awe of the beauty and the details. Noticing how the bricks in the wall behind someone, you can't help it. It's if you're a person like me that just loves that stuff. And it was just beautiful. So if you're a person that really loves that kind of thing in a movie, the visuals of it, you would definitely gonna feast your eyes on this one, because it's got all.
If you like surreal movies, you listen to Primus. This might be up your alley.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A detail I found very interesting was the cult's almost superhuman hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did that?
Yeah, they got the eye implant to see, because like they're all blind or partially blind.
Mm-hmm.
They got that weird philosophy that if they sacrifice a part of themselves and then get these implants, that they can see the real world around them, and then they also jack up their hearing with the weird microphone guns and whatnot. It's very trippy shit.
Yeah, it was really cool, the technology that you got to see throughout the different characters, their use of it.
And then the bad guys, they sell that technology to the cult,
mm-hmm.
and in exchange for them kidnapping kids, which they go to steal the dreams of. It's kind of like real world stuff where we're exploiting children and just doing horrible shit to make a buck.
Yeah, but the detail too for the guy with the flea circus, that actor, and then when they were using the flea, you could see the teeny flea, every detail on the flea. You know what I mean? It was cool. It was like it was under a microscope, and we were able to see.
Honestly, the
CGI,
the digital effects hold up even today.
Yeah, I thought it was really good since it came out 1994.
Yeah.
It was just.
Yeah, so you're looking at 30-year-old CGI.
It was good, but see, that's what I was talking about. You could tell the director, it's like I told Bruce a few times in some of the movies that we reviewed, that it was heartbreaking to see so much work put in on different parts of the movie, and that the director didn't care enough to sit down at the end and watch the whole movie, with his people or whatever, to see what a shitty job the editor did. The editor ruined the whole movie, basically. And to me, it's sad when you have a director that lets a finished product go out for us to view it and not know how shitty the editing was. That hurts. At least it does for me, for someone who loves movies. But this one, I could tell that he sat and watched this movie when he was finished, and he was happy with it. He was happy. He's like, "Mwah, this is great. I'm going to send it out," because it was in the Cannes Film Festival. It was the opening movie for that. I don't know. It just seemed like he loved this story. He wanted people to see his vision of it, and he did a phenomenal job of making sure that all of us got to enjoy his vision. I don't know, I can't explain it any different than that, but
it was outside of the politics of Hollywood.
Yeah, it was
so
outside
there's
of
probably a lot more creative control and input.
Yes, definitely.
The only thing I was worried about in this movie was the scenes with the young girl. And the reason why I said is that there's a part of Leon the Professional that goes into like, are we going to Cheese Pizza territory? Because if you watch that and you're like, what's he doing with her? Why are they in bed together?
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we got to remember, this came out in 1994.
Exactly.
Just
Same
like
time
Romeo and Juliet. Remember the movie that we watched, and there was nudity and they were underage, all that different stuff.
And our preconceptions of it, that whole scene where they're sleeping in the alley, that was a familial kind of closeness, and not the.
I'm so happy I don't see any of that. I don't assume it's all dirty and naughty. I grew up in a house with 5 girls and a dad that was very hands-on with cooking and helping us clean, showing us how to make our bed, all kinds of things, taking us camping, out in the woods, hiking, doing all these things. And when I watched this, I never once thought, oh my God, he's too handsy with this little girl. Or when he picked her up and put her on his shoulder, my dad did that with me, I'm just saying I feel bad for the people who can't sit and watch a movie at all anymore.
I didn't get any preferred
they're going to see something that shouldn't be appropriate.
I didn't get any of those thoughts either, but I seen like, oh God, certain people would go wee at that scene.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think that for myself, but that was like, I didn't think that was going on in my head, but it's like, oh dear God, some people would
I didn't think that at all.
Nuts.
I was able to sit and watch this movie, and I didn't let anything or anyone else take me out of it. I got to watch it and enjoy it and just absorb the beauty of it. There was a couple things that I was like, holy shit, to myself, because it was scary. Like I said about when the fisheye lens, I just felt like I was being pulled into it. I don't know. I'm glad I'm able to still do that. And I hope that I never lose that. I really do, because I think I get to enjoy it the way the director's wanting me to see it. And I enjoy that.
I've been blessed to have grown up in a generation where all of this stuff happening, we don't jump to conclusions as much as current day movie reviews and opinions and whatnot. I grew up where my mom, sick and tired of hanging out with the kids, she's like, you're old enough to take care of your brother. You and him go take a bath. I'm like, okay, whatever. And it was fine till he pooped the tub. That was the last time I ever took a bath with him.
Yeah, that would be.
But like, you try to put that in a movie nowadays, and people will jump to conclusions because of all the Hollywood and media BS going around. So, like, if you're going to watch this film, remember in what year it was made. And if you're old enough to remember that decade, like, think back, what were the societal tones, and kind of keep this current day BS, because right now we're all tribal and at each other's throats, and that's by design. So go into this film and just view it for what it is, and try to absorb as much as possible. Watch it several times if you don't get it, and then you'll see what a masterpiece of a film it is. Like, this is one of the few times that I agree with Rotten Tomatoes. They gave it an 80%. And I'm like, yeah, this is definitely in that upper tier of films, visually. The audio, like each scene where they represent the kids, it has a specific feel to it. The Cyclops cult, it's really harsh, and they got that weird Terminator look. As you see from their point of view, it's all almost like
Nods.
yeah, first gen night vision, and it's got that harsh, like industrial. It's a weird vibe. Like each character group that you're seeing from their perspective, they have their own theme, and it was just perfectly done. The writing's a little bit off. Like once you get into it, you go, okay, I understand this. This is cool. This is awesome. But it's so alien to normal thinking. Like even the normal townspeople, they're either totally oblivious or they're just horrible people. And it's like, how does that town function? Where's the police? Why is it always night? This is so claustrophobic and just disconcerting and dystopian.
Well, the reason I felt it was always night is because it was a dream. I didn't know for sure whether it was actually happening or if it was a dream, someone dreaming this was happening. So I figured it was a dream, and that's why it was dark. And it wasn't until at the end when I realized that it wasn't just all a dream, because I kept saying the whole thing with the fisheye lens was making me feel like that.
I figured it was just one of those weird movie time paradoxes where the entire thing happens over one night.
Yeah, it could have been that too. But one of the things that I found, I was looking when right before we came on, was trying to find it real quick. Oh, I hate it when I can't find it. That Ron Perlman. Oh, here it is. It says that he was the only American on the set. He didn't speak any. Not one lick. And it says he learned all of his lines and delivered them without error. So
nice.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, Marco Caro gave him the lines, and he would say them out phonetically or something.
And then this other
Since he
part,
didn't understand French.
Yeah, during the film, it said Ron Perlman was bitten by the dog with the pulley, and Judith, the girl, was bitten by the mouse with the magnet during the filming of the movie. So I thought that was interesting.
That's another aspect of the film that I liked. It had that whatchamacallit, the guy that makes all the crazy contraptions to do mundane things, the Rube Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg effects. Like, instead of getting a coat hanger and grabbing the key that was knocked out of the keyhole underneath the door, they go and grate some cheese, and then they take a mouse with a magnet tied to its tail, put it in the air vent, and lo and behold, it goes after the cheese and brings the key out with the magnet. But it was like,
yeah, I thought
take
that
the coat hanger and get that. And then, like, all the crazy contraptions and stuff with the dog that was supposed to be guarding the area with the guardsman, the thug in the chair that was munching on the sausage, really, and then he takes a nap.
Yeah, well, you think about it, the way that he was able to put the meat and the food and stuff in that bucket, so when the dog would go towards it, it would make it go up in the air so that the dog couldn't eat the food while he was sleeping. I thought that was really, really smart and a really cool detail to add to that scene. I thought it was really neat.
It kind of gives me the feel of the old, like, Tintin comics or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Those old-timey comics where the characters are doing these kind of outrageous things, but it works well. You look at it and you go, yeah, that makes sense. Like, even if it's the most absurd thing that they're doing.
And I also
it was a cool detail.
The way the Siamese twins took each other out with their own toy, basically, that they tortured other people with. I thought that was a pretty good part for the story, for revenge wise, to get even with the person.
When they forced one to attack the young girl,
Mhm.
That was the part I was most afraid of because, like,
Yeah,
I
I didn't like that. Oh, that's what I was going to
but
bring up. Now that you said that.
and Ron Perlman did not enjoy
He-
out of like he said for like all the decades he's been an actor, that's the scene he's hated the most, where he was attacking a young girl.
Yeah, I was really upset and doing this, like it's taking so long, I didn't like that part. The reason I didn't like it is because it didn't seem plausible. That was the only thing that took me away from the movie and made me think, well, that doesn't make any sense because he's Chamberlain or he's a strong man. Okay. So, which means he can snap her neck like that. Okay. So, him squeezing it, and it took so long for her tear to fly off while he was shaking her back and forth to hit the spider web and to make the bird make the noise and the series of things that happened after that, right? To take out the boat so the boat would take the dock down, right? So it took forever. Okay, there's no way that she wouldn't die in that amount of time that it took. So I wish they could have done it, made it a little shorter or something somehow, quicker.
I took that as he was fighting with all his might not to kill her instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took that way too, but it was still, it just was too drawn out. That was one thing that it took me out of the story for that few seconds, where I just went, oh God, I just hate this. So that was the worst part of the movie for me, that one scene.
And as far as like the professional's concerned, the American version is very tame. The French version is more racy. It has a little bit more grit to it. There's this couple scenes that are.
Which one did we watch?
What?
Which one did we watch?
We watched the French version.
Okay.
Because there's a scene where the director is behind a door and Matilda and Leon are raiding that one apartment.
Uh-huh.
And that's not in the theatrical release for on the American side of the pond. The part where she's kind of nursing him or tending to him in bed. All of the advances in that movie are by her. She's the one instigating any romance or any relationship in that film, and that it's just a poor 12-year-old girl that has ideas. She doesn't follow through with them, thank God, but it's a racy film for the fact that when you're a 12-year-old kid, you start to explore your own body, and he's a child in an adult's body, and he retains his civility and his virtue. So I just, before people go out there and start spreading shit, I just want to make sure you understand that I understand the Leon Professional versus the American version of The Professional. I love both those movies. I like the American version a little more because the movie's more streamlined, although you get more flavor in the European cut.
Well, I'm glad I got to watch the version that we watched simply because I just think that it showed more detail and made the scenes a little longer, with the beautiful visuals. And I'm glad I got to see that part of it.
Yeah, this movie here, there's only 2 cuts. There's no visual cut differences between them.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
It's just audio.
It's just an audio difference. It's all, Janet.
Well, I loved it. I thought it was really, really, really done well. And the director
Both directors do excellent work. Marco Caro and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, or
whatever his name is, GP.
Yeah.
JP.
Luc Besson has a history of going after young women, so like I can see that in his films.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a French thing or if it's just creepy old guy stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, the old guy, he was the creepiest thing in this movie. I mean, he was.
I love that man. He's been in a shit ton of movies.
Yeah, but do you remember the movie Poltergeist? And that old guy, the old preacher or whatever, that would go to the door, and he's like
Joe Biden. Yeah.
Well, that guy. Oh my God, he was scary just because of the way he spoke and the way he looked at you and stuff. That's what I felt from this guy. This guy just gave me the creeps. It didn't matter that he was nice or anything. It was just
He's an excellent actor and stage actor, and he always plays the majority of his roles are like bad guys because of the way he looks. And it's sad that he passed, but he was like 82 when he died, so he lived a full life. He contributed to cinema history. Like
when he made the movie, do you know when he made this movie?
He was in his 70s.
And it was made in 95, so he was probably in his early 70s. He was in Nosferatu, if I remember right, wasn't he? Not the original, but he was in a version of Nosferatu.
I think he was in a version of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I could be mistaking it for, what's his face? For fuck's sake, I can't remember his name. Werner Herzog worked with the dude for years. Shit. Is it going to bug me? I'm going to look it up.
Do that. Chat, if you saw this movie, I'd like you to put your scores in the chat. I'll star them. Have Janet or one of the guests read these aloud, because we do believe in interaction between us and our chat. Hello, Sort of Poopus Huber. How you doing today, sir? I'm kind of conflicted on this movie, just for the fact that did I really enjoy it? Nope. Did I like the way it looked? Oh my dear Lord. This movie is in the same realm as Wizard of Oz the first time you see it, or Return to Oz the first time you see it, or even Oz Great and Powerful the first time you see it, Blade Runner every time you see it. It's in that level of wowism that just makes your mouth go agape with all the various visual. I mean, if I'm gonna just gush about this movie, it's going to be about the visual effects and the matte paintings and the fact that they were able to do all of it on just 2 sound stages, make it look completely flawless. And by the end of the film, all I could do is just sit there and agape, go, I liked what I saw. I just don't know what the movie was about. I thought it was interesting. I thought this, like, I could follow part of it, but like I get the willies from when I see like 2 girls like in Kubrick's movie The Shining, and then the octopus girls grow up and they turn into that. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, they turn into Siamese twins. I have a lot of appreciation for the director of photography on this movie. They did such a wonderful job of bringing this to life. I don't know if we'll get a movie like this anytime in the future, because this movie, it didn't really do well with audiences at the time.
Just shy of its total expenditure too.
Yeah, and so he lost money on the marketing aspect of it. I do remember there was a marketing push for it at the time. I think I was in Europe when I was seeing advertisements for this, or a build-up.
Yeah, I remember the poster.
The thing I
Had
thought
the weird
was so
contraption on his head
about it was when the way they made this movie, like you said, that they put the tons of white makeup on them to make them very pale, and then they turned the dial on the camera until they became visually look normal again, and that enriched all the stuff in the rest of the movie, with the colors and the absorption by the camera lens, right? Why they didn't use this on any other movies? I don't remember seeing any other movie that had this look to it.
Hmm.
Do you guys know of any other movies that look kind of like this? I mean,
nothing to this effect. No,
because in Edward Scissorhands, the street in the backyard and all that looked fake. It looked like it was on a set, but I think it was supposed to look kind of hokey like that. But the colors, the vibrant colors and the costumes and stuff, the way the women were dressed for the picnic and all that stuff, that's what this reminded me a little bit about, the way that they did that. And then the scene with Vincent Price in it, in the castle and stuff.
Okay, well,
Just little things
There's-
like
If you like Delicatessen, Darius Khondji is the director of photography for Delicatessen and for this film. And he also did the cinematography for a movie called Seven from 1995 as well. So the guy, the guy did, he's put in some really good work.
He had a good eye.
And he also was the cinematographer for Midnight in Paris, which I recommend anybody who likes just Europe in general, just watch that movie. It's interesting. Is it great? Well, depends what your idea of great is. But it's definitely at least very pretty. It reminded me watching Midnight in Paris reminded me of Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx. Tom Cruise is the bad guy dressed in silver, and Jamie Foxx is a cab driver. Collateral.
Oh, Collateral.
Collateral.
Excellent movie.
Collateral's cinematography, the majority of it, like they make, for once in its existence, Los Angeles looks beautiful in that movie. The way it's shot, the way all the buildings, the way the camera follows the cab from a top down, almost like a GTA 1 style camera. But the way it's shot and the color hues, everything looks beautiful in that movie. Midnight in Paris does a similar thing with a lot of its shots to where you just kind of fall in love with the city. Seen Paris, appreciate it for what it is. Very weird town. People don't know what personal space is. Like they go 6 inches away from you and then they just sit like we're all in an elevator together. Like, get away from me. Arm's reach. Come on.
I also saw it said something about this was like inspired from a video game called BioShock.
No,
I've not played that game.
It would be the other way around, Janet.
Oh,
Yeah, BioShock came out long after.
Okay, see, I don't know.
Folks that made BioShock took cues from this movie.
Okay. So it was the other way around.
Yeah, this movie inspired.
I haven't played it, and I'd never seen this before. I'd never even heard of it.
You should play BioShock.
Well, how much did this movie cost to make?
18 million.
18 million? That's not too
the
bad.
Box office 11.
Back when 18 million actually meant something too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, up until 2000, I'll say 2005, you could make a great looking movie for $20 million because that's what Serenity was made on.
But you got to think about it because you got to pay all the actors, you got to pay all the people that worked on props and costume and makeup and all that stuff, and then editing and music, and that's a lot of money. I mean, if you think about it, so to do something so visually stunning, in my eyes, with that much money, I give them kudos. I think I just can't believe it, how beautiful it was. I still can't. It's like a work of art. At least that's how I saw it. I mean, what do you guys think? Don't you guys think it was just stunning? I mean, it was just breathtaking to me. I just can't get over it.
Sorry for the seagull.
Oh, yeah, the seagulls were real. Those were real seagulls. Those were not fake.
I felt sorry for the seagull that landed on
that
last.
Yeah, that poor seagull.
Yeah.
He didn't know what was going on.
Mm-mm.
Don't care for the mad scientist. Don't care for his retarded clones, except for the brain. God, I wish that guy had a body or something.
I didn't like the clones were creepy, but the guy that played those characters did an excellent job at pretending to be different people because they seemed different. They acted different. They moved a little different. I just thought it was really good.
It was Klaus Kinski that was in Nosferatu. Similar facial features.
Looks exactly like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this guy was in
Dark Alley.
What's New Pussycat, and what was that other one? He played Satan in it. It was The Devil's Nightmare. That's like a 70s horror flick.
God, I haven't seen that movie in years.
But yeah, Daniel Emilfort, he's a talented actor, or was a talented actor, and he had that physical structure that you see some really good actors get typecast into certain things. He wasn't necessarily typecast.
I mean,
because he did a whole body of work, but he excelled at the antagonists. He had that demeanor, and he was like one of the nicest dudes ever. One of the best products coming out of Chile. So.
And the way he acted when he had the bearded stuff, the original, or whatever you want to call it, when he's strapped to the leg of the water platform, or whatever you want to call it,
the oil rig.
Yeah. And he had all that dynamite and shit just all hooked on him, and then you saw all the mercury switches going off, so I just thought it was really, the details and stuff and all that stuff was just really, really good. And then you could see the brain trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Just little things like that. I thought it was really good. I mean, he was nuts. I mean, he seemed crazy as all get out. And then he realized when all of a sudden that paper came by and he grabbed it and he could see that
moment of clarity.
Yeah, he had his eyes changed. It's like the gloss that was in his eyes just cleared. And he was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm going to die. And then he realized he didn't want to die.
His TBI was cured, and he realized, hey, wait.
Yeah, see, I thought the actors were just really, really good. Even the kids, they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, adorable little kids, and they smiled, and they just were just so cute. I just thought they were adorable.
And in the English version, they're all dubbed as like Cockney little street urchins, and it's hilarious.
They were
adds
cute.
to the effect.
They were
but I would give this movie an 80% out of 100 easily. It takes some getting used to. Once you start watching it and you pick things up, you're like, you want to watch it more to absorb more details because there's so much shit going on, and it's a wonderful film. Mm-hmm. It's disturbing. It's fantastical. It's got some heartfelt moments. It's freaking bizarre. Like, it's so much of a contrast to the gray goo that is coming out of Hollywood and television nowadays. This is a gem from the 90s that you guys gotta at least experience once in your life, 4 times.
I'm glad I had the
fully understand it.
The scene where at the very end when they're trapped down in the water because everything, and she gasps and comes to life or whatever from being unconscious, and she hits the water and they swim together, and that's when the twins are putting that oil down into the water, the gas, with that big hose, and then she flicks that match and she's holding it and it's burning. That to me was one of the nail biting times for me, more than anything else, knowing that as soon as she chucks that and it hits the water, that all that's going to burn with all that wood and everything from the damaged dock. And they're trapped down there, have nowhere they can't get out. The big ship's in the way, and the wall from the big warehouse nearby. So that was a really intense moment. And to see them be able to climb up the rope, and finally get up on the dock because she's hanging on his back, while he's climbing up. And the monkey guy or the flea circus man is doing the crank on the, what do you call that? What's that kind of organ?
He's an organ grinder.
Yeah, organ.
It's just an organ.
Yeah, and he's grinding that, and the two twins are attacking each other, choking each other and slapping each other and punching each other and stuff. I just thought that was great. It was a real intense scene, and that's when he takes his cigarette and he flicks it, and it hits the water and it just explodes. So that was a pretty big explosion. I mean, there was a lot of pyrotechnics and other different stuff in this movie too, considering for the price of the 18 million. And the ship, didn't it look real to you guys? How ginormous it was? was all rusty, and I don't know. I just thought it was excellent the way that they did it.
The
Knowing
attention to detail was epic.
the details are just, it's just breathtaking. I just love that. I just love stuff like that. That's why a lot of people don't want to go to the movies with me, especially when I'm going to see something like Dangerous Liaisons. I was the same way, and on over that movie. I just can't help it. I just love it. The details, the extra, the extra work that the pride that someone took in their job to make me want to love this movie. I just love that. It shows so much pride in this director, or the two directors, for the different scenes probably. But I don't know. I just think it's a visual work of art, this movie. Now, I wish I was able to have paid a little more attention to the story details, but I couldn't help it. I was so enamored with the beauty of it. I was just looking at all the details. It was just mesmerizing to me. And I can't just push pause, like you can at home. So it was just really good. So anyone that's into that, I definitely would tell them to definitely want to watch this movie. It is breathtaking. I'll say that 4 or 5 times. But
what's your score on that, Janet? Do you know?
For this movie, I would definitely give it at least a 9 out of 10. That's a real high for me, just because of that. Even though I don't know every detail about it, but the acting was really good for the parts that I did understand. And the people they picked to play the characters, I thought they did a really good job, for that. And the costumes and just everything else. And the direction was just perfect, almost perfect, except for the one part I said. I probably would have gave maybe even a 10 or a 9.5 if it wasn't for that drawn out one part where it just took so long. There's no way I could believe that when she hit the water that she would wake up. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that took me out of the movie, was that scene.
Crafting Gamer, you have thoughts?
8.5. I really do love this movie.
Yeah, that's a good score too, though.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm quiet. I'm currently assembling miniatures to try to get my niece and nephew into painting. Niece and nephews.
Mm-hmm.
Get them while they're young.
Yep.
Well, Six Nations. What's your score?
You said 80%.
Yeah, I should go into more detail. I was going to say 83%. It's really good. It doesn't hit my top selection of movies, but it's so damn close, because those are like 90 and above.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is well worth getting on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish I saw it in the theater, but it was several years later that I got to see it on DVD, and it's a cinema gem. Once you get past all the kooky surrealism and whatnot, and get a gist of what's going on, it's easier to digest, and then you're looking at eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting creeped out by the sound effects and visuals. It's got a whole lot going for it. It's a very meaty, heady film that you definitely want to watch.
So I guess it's my turn.
You're the last one.
If you want.
Okay.
We made him feel bad, I guess. Sorry.
I'm going to give this movie a 60%. That's 3 out of 5. Okay, that's better than like average of 50. This movie has some interesting performances. It's got some good sets. The sets look fucking great. The visual props department, magnifique. Brain in the case, really good. Fisheye lens, amazing. Not certain what happened throughout this movie. At the end, there was a great pyrotechnics display, and we had some really good practical effects. CGI still actually holds up for the most part. The worst part's the gray mist. Because we watched the dub version, I didn't hear the actor's actual discussion. We heard it wasn't an honest movie. Whenever you have a dub film, you're hearing a studio try to make it accessible to people like you who don't speak the language it was naturally filmed in, which is okay. But there's something about watching a movie in its original language with the subtitles, because you can hear the actor humming along, or the inflection in their voice, or some such of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
The songs make more sense in the French dub too.
They do. They always make more sense in their own language. But I didn't enjoy the fact that throughout like the first 5 minutes on, I'm wondering, what have I stepped into? And it just stayed at that level throughout most of the film. Like I got the main points of the film. I didn't catch the parts where the small parts, like the breadcrumbs that lead you from intricacies to intricacies to intricacies. There's a lot to pull apart here. And Six Nations and Crafting Gamer both have persuaded me that this movie deserves multiple viewings so you can see it and understand it. If we're going to compare it to Akira, then I'll definitely want to watch it again. But on the first viewing, I'm not saying I liked it. I'm saying I endured it. The visual effects are more than enough to keep you glued to the screen. The acting looks like it's about as good as it can get, and then the dubbing wasn't that jarring. But I've got to say that this is not a one-time and done movie. For this channel, what I'll do, though, is next year on the 10th of September, on the 10th of August next year, we'll watch this movie again. I have no problem saying that, because I think this should be an annual watch. Maybe I'll get a little bit more out of it again and again and again. I am fairly certain I'll get more out of it next time I see it. Just right now, first time I watch it, completely alien in scope. No idea what I just watched. There's another movie like this that I want to see called Mad God. And
that's a good one, and I've only seen it 1.5 times. It was on cable, and then we ended up getting rid of cable, so I wasn't able to get it. So I gotta find it again. It's a trippy movie.
It deserves. It looks like it deserves more than one watch. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely,
this movie. This is like the stereotypical foreign film that's not for Western audiences. It's for people that are either completely sold on this reality or on this story, and they bought into it before they saw it. And when they get into it, they already know characters. They already know like the initial plot points and the world. They already have this in their head, and so they're not starting at square one like I did. And I'm not going to be as going a review on it just for the fact that like I was expecting at least a hand up getting into the movie from the actors or from like an opening crawl narration, but I didn't get that, and that's okay. Not everybody is Dan O'Bannon that writes scripts with opening crawls of films, and I get it, but I really think this movie would have benefited from like an opening crawl that first 90 seconds puts you in the movie a little easier than you just being dropped into it naked, and this poor boy is being besieged by 15 Santa Clauses that are fucking with his toys and fucking with the presents. And then all of a sudden,
you in instead of dropping the hammer on you.
And I have screaming Frenchmen coming out my TV, and I turn it down so my wife doesn't get woken up because she's in the other room. And I thought this movie had a lot of virtue to it, but the story is not readily apparent on the first experience. I hate to say that. For me, that's not a strong script. But is it good? Yeah, I'm going to watch it again. I'm planning on watching it again. There you go.
So.
I didn't mean to kill conversation, guys. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's all right.
No, it's okay. I was just like mid-thought, like, how am I going to follow up with that? So this film, if you're psychedelic adjacent, or you're European and you're used to this shit, or you just have seen enough weird cinema where you're like, yeah, I can go balls deep in this. Like, you're not going to have a problem watching this. But if this is your first time in the surreal, just don't feel bad about the what the fuck moment if it continues on the entire journey. Like I said, it's kind of like if you listen to Primus, the opening sequence to Frizzle Fry, you know, welcome all you boys and girls. I'd like to take you into the inside world. It's quite an irregular place to be. But don't you worry, you're safe with me. Well, maybe.
Also,
so like that,
it's
going to be a safe trip, perhaps, for most. Just keep your arms and legs on the inside of the vehicle as you go down this road.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you should let young children watch this movie at all. Just because there's different things. It's nightmarish, there's visuals that I think that would leave an imprint, on a child and cause them to have nightmares. I mean, I really do. I might even have a nightmare tonight.
What would you say? Like PG-13?
Yeah.
Like me, I'd let my younger 10-year-old cousins or whatever watch it with me. But I've been fucked up in the head.
Yeah, but
they let me watch horror movies when I was a small child.
If you're watching it with your nieces and nephews where you can pause it and explain things to them, totally different than putting them in front of it and letting them watch it. You see what I mean? Big difference. But the thing is, I think it was very stunning. If you have anyone in your life that loves the artistic qualities of movies, loves comic books, loves cartoons, things like that have to do with fantasy, I think they would enjoy this movie. I just really do. I loved it. I thought it was really, really well done. Now, I do want to watch it again so I can get more of the gist of the story, because I did make a couple of mistakes because I was so busy looking. There's so much in it. You definitely have to watch it more than one time. But I can see why a lot of people left the movie theater going, what did I just see?
That Cyclops cult.
Yeah.
That like, here it is 30 years later almost, and I still don't understand what the hell's going on with that.
I don't even think you're supposed to on every aspect.
I keep looking at it, and I start seeing references to, like, real world occultism and whatnot. I'm just like, is this like part of the whole nightmare aspect of the dream theme that is going on in this film, or is this something else? Like, holy crap, here we are, another rabbit hole.
Right? Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, it had little, little stabs, almost like there was little things in this movie to me that it stabbed you almost and woke you up, it jolted you. And there was little things like that throughout the movie. That's why I said, I hope I might have nightmares tonight, but not a nightmare to where, I'm going to go jump off a roof or anything, but one that it visually jarred me. You know what I mean?
Just beware of creepy Santas in your dream. You should be fine.
Somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a message from Janet. Damn it, David, you made me have nightmares about multiple Santa Clauses.
Well, yeah, that was creepy in itself. But all kids I think lots of kids have nightmares about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny because we dragged them around to go see them. You know what I mean? When they were little. So we were all taken to see Santa Claus, I think, when we were children, or the Easter Bunny. So I think we all have some type of, fear of something like that. So even that movie where the kid goes to see Santa and he puts him on the slide and he pushes him down, or the elf pushes him down with his foot.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah, we all have something in our life that's like that. So I just don't want to add to a child if you get them to watch this at home with you. or by themselves under 13. I wouldn't recommend it. Even though the movie came out in 1994, it's still very creepy. I mean, it's just it's got a lot of things in it that to me that mess with your mind. The way the camera's used, the colors, the lighting, different things like that. Which, you know, they tell people not to let certain kids play with those Oculus very long because it can cause them to have seizures and different things like that. So I don't know. I just want to make sure I put that out there for anyone that's might see it and want to share it with their kid or whatever. So that's all. But we're gonna have a really good time next week. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be my last movie for 2 weeks.
Next week, we're watching a movie, a little film came out in 1975 called Jaws.
Nice.
Yay. The original. Yeah, I'm excited.
We'll also discuss the
It's
other
one of-
film.
It's one of the few movies where like the first is the best and then it just progressively gets worse. Although Jaws 3 in 3D was freaking epic.
I thought it was good. I saw it in 3D too.
My uncle had a projector TV, which was all the rage back in the 80s. He also had premium channels. So we watched it on cable in 3D.
That
And me as a kid growing up in a coastal town, definitely afraid of great whites because they are literally out there just 100 yards off of the beach.
Oh, yeah, it's Steven Spielberg. That's right. Yeah, Bruce is what they named him.
But I do have a soft spot for the second one because when I was in kindergarten and got chicken pox, I got to see it on my own TV in black and white goodness. It was a product of the time.
Yeah, it's got some good action, good actors in this movie. I can't wait till next week. It's going to be so much fun.
Roy Scheider, man, I miss that dude. He was a hell of an actor.
All of them were good in this movie.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw.
If the big C didn't take him so soon, I bet he would still be doing movies today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great cast. It's another one of those movies that it's a phenomenon because a blockbuster is a blockbuster because the director he pulled all the stops. You know, he went all the way through the whole thing to make sure every detail of his movie was going to be out on the big screen for people to see so they could see what's in his head. Okay. That's when you have a blockbuster, no matter what it is. I don't care if it's Superman, Batman, Jaws, Cabaret, or, you know, any of those type of movies. It doesn't matter because if a director can put it together the way he sees it or she, either one, sees it in their mind and are able to get all the people, the right people for the different jobs to all see his vision and be able to come together and put it out. That's why it's a blockbuster. That's why they deserve to make millions and millions of dollars off of it, you know?
And Jaws still terrifies people to this day. Like it's held up. Excellent.
I can never swim the way I used to when I was little. I remember being really little and being able to not worry about
buried alive, drowning, suffocating. Those are horrible. Getting eaten alive. That is definitely horrible. This is one of those movies where you don't want to be
swimming out there. Just think about it. You're swimming out and you look back and you see the shore. It doesn't seem like it's that far away. But as soon as you look down in the water and you see the darkness below you, and then you look back at the beach, it looks like it's miles and miles away. You're never going to be able to swim back.
If it makes you feel better about great whites in the water, a couple of sea experts say that the Jaws shark would be technically a megalodon throwback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not actually a great white.
That's even scarier because those things are the size of fucking school buses.
It's a shark. That's all that matters.
It's not 15 feet. It's like 30 feet long.
Straight up, just like you see on Jaws or the Shark Week, and you see the poor seal going up in the air with it because it's going full force, bam, like a truck hitting you, or a train. It knocks your wind out of you, and you're unconscious. So you're about to be a snack. That's it. It's over. You're not going to survive. So that's scary.
Yeah, maybe after the stream, Bruce, I'll have you pull up the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and I'll point out where all the great whites like to hang out.
It's going to be fun. If anyone loves
it's closer to the shore than most people expect.
And you can watch it with us if you want to watch Jaws. We'll invite you in to come into Discord and watch it with us. It's fun.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not? I mean, I have a guy on Spaces who's still talking about how much fun he had when he got to come watch the movie with us and then get on the stream. John from John's Tavern from Goonies, the Goonies guy. He still talks about it.
He's the guy with the Woody Woodpecker icon, right?
Yeah, he's still.
Yeah, he was a cool dude.
Everybody, so he thought it was awesome. You know, his job's changed. He's got a lot of different stuff going on too, but he talks about it still. So he loved it. He thought it was awesomeness. So wish we could just get some more people to see it.
Yeah, that'd be completely understandable. Next week,
so I can win the Mega Millions. Get my own theater.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for telling me I need to go out and buy some tickets right now. Thanks. Because you can't win if you don't play. But I'm looking forward to next week. I want to give a special thanks to both Crafting Gamer and Six Nation 31 Kings for joining us today. Because I didn't feel comfortable as the dissenting voice, as just going against Janet. I don't want to be seen as picking on her. I'll be honest.
Bruce, we know you're a dick. It's okay.
And
it's cool. Just accept it. Be cool with it. We need more dicks in this world.
Why would I think that?
Well, no, I wanted to have some positive commentary about the film because the movie's got a lot of great things going for it.
Not every movie's made for everyone. That's what makes movies so good. Is there something for everybody?
Yeah, and this movie has a lot of. I think this movie. I think if you haven't seen this movie yet and you like good cinema, you claim to like good cinema, check it out. See if it's something you enjoy. If not, it costs you $2 or $4, whatever the price is for a rental nowadays. I do recommend that if you know my Discord, there's a certain channel in my Discord where I post links. Thank you, Putin. And that's all I'm going to say. So if you're not in the mood to part with your funds, I get it. But the movie's been out for 30 fucking years. And I'm pretty much okay with like classics, things that you find on Internet Movie Archive. I think it's okay to share those links and to enjoy those because it'd be better time well spent for you to do that than for you to go to the movie theaters and watch something brand new today because it's all shit.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Bruce and I choose some of the movies that we choose. It's going to be very rare that we're going to do new stuff because we don't want to spoil anything for people, but we want to talk about what we enjoy, movies that we like or people that watch the show with us that they like and they recommend us to watch. So that's why we do the movies that we do. And we like movies from the 80s and the 90s because they're good. It was back when cinema was still fun to watch.
Yeah, I found great movies from the 1920s that I want to share on. But,
I don't know if I've ever seen a movie from the 20s.
I was blessed with friends that were in the video stores and working the cinemas. So, like, I got into that movie thing pretty early. Mm-hmm. And I realized that we got a treasure trove, a backlog. You can spend your entire life watching all the older stuff. Like, here, nowadays, there's a handful of movies that might come out that might warrant watching, or you might enjoy a franchise and you go, okay, I'll watch this next iteration, next chapter in this series. But like, don't be afraid to go out of your wheelhouse and see some things. Like, you got ways of accessing movies relatively cheap, sometimes free. Mm-hmm. And and just go out there and dip your toes in it. Watch stuff that you wouldn't normally watch. Watch some old shit that, like, my grandparents or my great grandparents would have probably loved this. But yeah, go on and experience it, because everything has some value to it.
Yeah, we do that. We try to pick movies, like we'll put like for different holidays when we're having like groups, like a family reunion or whatever, and we're together for a week. We have a hat, and then we put names of movies in it, and then we pick a couple of kids or whatever, and then let them pick the names out. And then when they read it, that's the movie that we all have to sit down as a family and watch. And it's always good. It's always fun. So movies are good entertainment for a whole family. So, playing games is good. There's lots of things to do that takes you off the internet and put you together. Make popcorn, eat some candy, and sit and enjoy a movie with your family and your friends.
And just because a movie is older doesn't mean that movie is great. I plan for next year, Easter 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We will be watching, not 2024, Easter 2025. And that is the 20th of, in pretty much here, it's going to be April 20th. The week before, to be April 13th for the full moon or Jewish Passover. But Gregorian Julian Easter is going to be April 20th. April 20th, we're going to watch a movie that is not a good movie. It's called Night of the Lupus, starring DeForest Kelley.
Oh,
is that the one
God.
with the rabbits?
Yes.
Oh,
sounds
my
like a bad
God.
movie.
I haven't seen that.
It is it is a horrible movie. And if you love schlock,
I had nightmares.
it will be epic.
And I had a rabbit, and I never wanted a rabbit after that. I wanted my parents to get rid of it. So that's terrible. But yeah, I haven't seen that.
We haven't
Night of the Lupus, Food of the Gods, Attack of the Killer Shrews.
Yeah, that's gonna be scary. That was scary. I haven't seen it since. So I don't even remember how old I was, but my dad.
The fact that they got made into professional movies, it's like, you got to wonder, what were they thinking? Was it, let's just throw money at it and see what we can make? Or did somebody have like an idea and they're like, this would be an awesome movie, and then we got this, and it's like, yeah, that wasn't an awesome idea, but it's an entertaining movie because it's so bad.
That's going to be an Easter holiday. I want to be entertained on Easter. I'm sorry. Easter is typically not a day for people.
So you want to watch rabbits that eat people for Easter? Is that what you're saying?
I do. I don't understand how.
That's what I would do. I would pick this movie or Passion of the Christ. Do you want to see gratuitous bloody violence in a historical setting, or would you rather watch something that's a little bit more lighthearted? Gratuitous violence that's not so bloody.
Yeah, I cry. I've already seen The Passion, and I cried a lot.
It's either that or Jesus Christ Superstar. It's a musical. They got funny hats. It's pretty good, and I like it. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not a musical guy.
So, I haven't seen that one.
There's a lot of joy in watching older films. I've been discovering this over the past couple of years. My friend Janet here, and we've definitely gone through a gamut of films, some of which have fallen a few steps since I first watched them.
Yeah,
and
me too.
my favorite punchline for any movie is, the fact that some people take G.I. Jane seriously, and I take it as science comedy instead of science fiction. But
I didn't take it serious. I just said that to me, the overall point of view of it was trying to show that they shouldn't lower standards to let women or anyone that's short or can't perform. They shouldn't lower the standards.
Here. If you could rock a 130-pound rucksack and not have your knees blow out,
do it. If you can pass the test,
then you should be able to do it.
Then you should get the job. That's what I was saying, and I still feel that way. I still feel like that's how the movie was trying to portray it.
That's fine, but the problem I have is that they completely bastardized the entire Bud's experience from 2 years to 8 weeks, and she's ready to go. Yeah. And then
it's a movie.
It has the meme. It has the meme in it where you have the officer fucking up on the direction of the map, and it has the meme.
That was the most realistic thing ever.
That's the part of the movie that was actually true, where the fucking officer looks at the map and is on the radio and fucks up directions. I fucking howled with laughter when I saw that.
I know. That was one of the things that you definitely didn't enjoy, that you thought was bullshit.
It's okay. If we're gonna make, like, most really bad sci-fi I've watched is third wave or second wave feminism sci-fi movies, and this movie here wasn't quite feminism sci-fi, but it was trying to make that step, much like Thelma and Louise was like a retarded script trying to make a step.
I loved Thelma and Louise. I still love it.
It was at the cusp of the feminism.
It tried. It like stared. It was at the edge of the dam, looking down at the water, and it didn't have the nuts to jump. Oddly enough, for a feminist movie, but it really it could have gone in a logical direction because you have the characters already set. Harvey Keitel is trying to do his best for these young girls, and there's so many characters that do care about Thelma and Louise, and they could have fixed things. Just shut up and let's communicate logically for a second. But no, we can't do that. And this movie's all about emotions and let's die trying. And literally they do that. But yet they don't have the nuts to show me the explosion of the car at the end. Instead, the movie fades to fucking white. Fuck you, Ridley Scott, you pile of shit. You've made over 40 fucking films with good pyrotechnics, and you couldn't give me one stock photo image, one stock 13-second clip of a mildly interesting American convertible sedan.
Two women roasting at the bottom of a canyon.
I wanted to see
where we're going. We don't need roads.
Yeah, that's right.
Dun, 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 dun. And
they couldn't go either. They literally edged me. I could not.
They wanted the Grease ending because that's almost like Grease. They just drove up into the sky.
Fucking blue balls of movies, Thelma and Louise. Like, first off, you show me Gina fucking whatever her name is.
Gina Davis.
You show me her post-coitus when she's glowing, blossoming with sexual energy, and looking ravishingly gorgeous. And then, instead of taking the movie to its logical step and letting Harvey Keitel talk him off the ledge and, take him into custody, slow things down, let's fix this, let's not let things get out of hand. Or fine, your emotions got the better of you, you floor it, you jam the fucking vehicle off the canyon, camera follows the vehicle down.
And they're holding hands.
Destroy a perfectly good classic car.
Or we have practical effects. You don't need to destroy the car. Just show me a monogram model with a little bit extra oomph in it. Gooding exploded to hell because in Independence Day came out a few years later and had some of the best pyrotechnics that we've seen yet. That movie still looks good.
Yeah.
But I'm so edged by the ending of Thelma and Louise, and you're standing there. Like, let me come one of two ways. I don't give a shit. I'm just ready to enjoy myself. But yet this movie completely, like, I smashed my dick with a hammer after that. That's exactly what I felt like doing.
Oh, that's sad.
Because that movie just completely hosed it up. And then, you have G.I. Jane a few years later. Ridley Scott's dementia is starting to show through. And it didn't get better ever since then.
Bruce. The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Great movie, but no Ridley Scott. There's no Ridley Scott in that movie. But just think about that, and then the rage will settle down. Yeah.
And then we can forget.
But you got to remember,
until it gets mentioned again.
Everyone ages. Directors, actors, singers, they all have to age. And
not George Burns. George Burns. He's as old as God.
They all go out with a Peter.
I
like
I
that.
like I gotta say that like the only movie in the last 26 years that I've liked that Ridley Scott did, I don't even like anymore, and that's Gladiator, because there's parts of the
Yeah.
script they set it up for Shakespeare, but then I get the A-Team dialogue.
Didn't he do
go out.
Alien?
What?
Wasn't he the one that did Alien?
Yeah, he did in 1979.
So you didn't like that one?
In 1979, I love that movie.
Okay, well,
I love that movie still.
that's a still
But
good movie.
not in the last 26 years.
Yeah,
Oh,
In a 26-year span,
one.
he hasn't done anything good since 2000.
I've not seen anything good of his since like the early, no, not even that late.
Well, you got to remember too.
Yeah.
The different movies weren't all written by the same person either. So if you don't have
but
good
It's kind of like
script,
John Carpenter. Like John
it's just
Carpenter
like
wanted
if
to
you
be a
don't have good
musician.
script, you're not going to have good movies. That's just, you know.
When he was making other people's movies, they were really good. His movies,
Mhm.
they got cult status, you know, but they're not like epic cinema.
You got stuck up people in Hollywood, okay? And once they've got a name for themselves for writing a script, they don't want to let other new, young, up-and-coming script writers into Hollywood unless they sell it outright. Like I told you, a lot of scripts are sold outright for like $5,000. The person gets it or another one and put them together and make one script, and then they put their name on it. So it's not even them writing the story or coming up with it. It's them writing taking other people's story and revamping it.
Ooh,
basically.
Dracula.
This is the best.
I like that movie.
This is the best Ridley Scott movie that he's done in recent memory, and it goes back to 1989. Okay, it is the most recent film he's done that I can appreciate, and I wish I could say something nice about everything he's done since.
I don't remember all his stuff, so I can't tell you if I liked any of his new stuff or not.
He's making Gladiator 2, which I'm not really too enthused about. He did The Martian, which Martian was funny. The Martian's a funny movie. You'd be surprised at the level of comedy that's in it, because this guy's going nuts, going for broke, trying to get the fuck off Mars. But
I mean, when you can make a movie like this shark movie or whatever it was, of the sharks coming from the Sharknado or whatever, and it makes a lot of money, or that one Cocaine Bear and it makes a lot of money, why would anyone want to work hard to make a movie when they can make that and make money off of it? See?
It's a hollow movie.
So
it doesn't last. Like, it's a fad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the 90s when Extreme was the one descriptor for everything.
And look how much
Be
work
it food or television or something.
to make a Lord of the Rings. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So you either have a director that wants to take the time and the headache to go through getting 20th Century Fox or Disney or another big corporation to pay to have a movie like Lord of the Rings made, or they can just say, hey, we got this, we can make a few $1 million off it. Here's Sharknado. Yay. You see what I mean? That's the difference between a director and someone who just wants to make a few bucks. I'd rather see Lord of the Rings. I'd rather see him take time and effort, like this movie that we saw today, that loves.
Look at the staying power of both the animated Hobbit, Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, there was some rotoscope, and it was kind of cheap, but still had a cultural impact. And then you got the live action, which was freaking phenomenal, and both of those versions stand the test of time. The new Hobbit was just a hodgepodge of bureaucracy and interference. And that's why it pays to do quality cinema despite the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Good writing, good directing, good acting.
Yeah, you got to have
having a passion for the creation of your art.
Yeah, someone
and then you put out a good product
and the story,
and
then you get actors.
And then in the year that it gets released, like if it doesn't make money, you know, maybe 30 years down the line, it's going to be making a crap ton of money because a new generation has come about and they discover this gem. So
that's the difference, and that's what I look for. That's why I
junk
like
cinema's fun.
independent movies. I love independence because they love what they're doing. They're doing it for the movie making experience. They're not doing it. Oh, it's going to be a blockbuster. See if we can make some dough. That's two different reasons to make a film. And the one that wants to see it, like Wind River, okay, wanting to make something for people to see is different than saying, "Hey, let's make some money." You see what I mean? You can see the difference in the quality right off the bat. And to me, I'd rather see a movie that didn't make a lot of money just because it's going to be a better movie. Because they didn't make it just to make a few bucks. They made it because they loved the story. They wanted to show you something. They wanted to give you something to watch, a theatrical something. Their vision. That, to me, is worth more. And I'll take the time out to watch it because, to me, just like Caveman, okay? Caveman was a fun movie and it was entertaining. It had all the things in it that we want that made us laugh. We were all laughing watching it. And you could tell the person that directed that movie loved what they were doing. There's a big difference right there for me. That is what makes me want to watch a movie.
Say that. I would definitely say that.
Huh?
And I appreciate you guys sticking around here for a few extra minutes as we discuss some intricacies and opinions of other films that I don't feel make the cut. I do think that I think that The Hobbit Part 1 was kind of okay, but they didn't need to drag it into 2 or even 3 films. I think that should have been just 1.5 hour movie and then be done with it.
Yeah.
I tried to enjoy it, and it leaves a bad taste in the mouth because then I want to just go watch the animated one and be like, okay, I'm going to go rock out to Yarborough, and it was better written. Like you could see that they had an idea to make Hobbit, but then like whatever cuts they had to do, they had to jam everything in. And then they had to like tie it to the trilogy, which that was probably one of the most sacrilegious things. So they started throwing in characters that didn't belong.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to go read the books. Go to the source.
Did you guys like the Harry Potter movies?
I haven't seen them.
Did you?
I saw a couple of them, and it was okay. I never got into the books and never really got into the series, but I had family that liked Harry Potter, so
I loved it.
And I don't got any problem with J.K. Rowling, unlike the woke. So, she wrote a story.
Go ahead, Crafting Gamer.
I personally liked them, but they came out like Harry Potter was 11 when I was 11.
Yeah.
So they kind of came out as that was a child. For me, it was kind of a childhood thing. So it was like nostalgia, I guess. So though I've never read the books.
Yeah, it's hard for me as a 20-something to get involved with like the shenanigans of 10, 11-year-olds. Like I can look back at my time in the mid 80s being like, yeah, that would have been awesome to have magical powers, but I'm like,
It's funny because I talked to a few people and they're like, they loved Batman and they loved Iron Man, but they thought Harry Potter was stupid. And I'm like, why? Well, because it doesn't make any sense. It's not real enough or whatever. And I'm like, you're watching a comic book movie and that's okay, that is not real. But you can't watch a movie about wizards. See, to me, I can separate it. To me, it's fantasy, just like Batman, just like any of those characters. It's the same. I put them on the same level because they're not real. Okay, they're characters from a story. So I'm able to do that. So I wish more people could do it. Even Wolverine. I love Wolverine. He's my number one favorite. It's like a 3-way tie between Morbius, Wolverine, and Deadpool. Those are my 3 anti-heroes that I really love in my comic books that I read. But I love the movies too. Okay, I'm able to enjoy them knowing they're not real. I don't expect them to be realistic and lifelike, or like reality, like now Bad Boys. I expected it to be like a cop, a real cop, or what two detectives might go through. I mean, it's a little more of a theatrical stuff, but to watch them, like what Bruce does a lot with the people are using weapons or martial arts. He expects it to be realistic, just like why we all loved all the movies with Keanu Reeves. Okay, because he knows how to use a weapon, he knows how to fight. It makes it more exciting, more realistic to us when we watch it. So we all take different things from different movies, but I'm able to separate that.
Well, yeah. Well, one of the things that I've learned as living where I am,
mm-hmm.
people, those movies that have the people who actually know how to fight, people also take those very literally, to the point that if you can fake a very convincing martial arts stance, people will back off before the fight begins. Ask me how I know.
Because it happened to you?
How do you know?
Because I've actually done it twice, and it worked both times.
Well, good. That's awesome. My mom made us take judo.
Deception.
Choke people.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican judo. You don't know how to have a knife, everybody. A gun.
Well, we lived in Florida when we took the classes, so it was popular.
I'm not going to knock Harry Potter because, there's a generation that grew up on that stuff, and that's their expectation of wizardry. And I'm like, okay, that's one aspect. But then you got the showdown between Akiro and that one bad mage and Conan the Destroyer when they were trying to close that mouth, and they're doing the wizard duel, and there's like really no special effects involved except for them grunting. But then you got Disney with Merlin and what's her face doing the magic duel, and they're turning into animals, and then he turns into a germ and wins that battle. And then you got like Big Trouble in Little China, which is probably one of the best cinematic wizard duels that I can think of.
Oh, I don't know. Mortal Kombat was pretty good too.
The wizard battle in Big Trouble in Little China had the Lo Pan versus what was his name?
Egg Shen.
Egg Shen, and they're both trying to get their avatar to do a better blow against the other avatar, and it was pretty good.
It was like a Street Fighter battle with controllers. Before it was Street Fighter. It was ahead of its time.
It's great. Akira the Wizard versus Wizard Thothamon, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We need to watch Conan the Destroyer. I'll need to schedule that. We've got a lot of movies already in the hopper, but we'll need to watch that.
We'd have to watch Conan the Barbarian too, then.
Oh, at some point you have to I don't have the money right now. Too bad. I need to.
Oh, the one with Jason Momoa. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm joking. I'm so joking.
There's a movie called Hoodwinked. It gives Jan an excuse to wear her Red Riding Hood outfit.
Yeah. Oh, Hoodwinked.
And it's even.
Why does that sound familiar? I haven't seen it.
I've suggested it before.
It's an animated one.
Yeah.
Oh,
it has two strong female characters, but the male characters aren't idiot. Well, there is one, but that's literally the strong, dumb lumberjack. I mean, it's kind of his role. But the other main male characters are not idiots. And this was made when they could have been a lot of strong female, dumb male. No, both are, okay, the wolf is more smart than he is strong. Grandma is fucking ninja.
I haven't seen it, so I guess I might have to watch it.
Oh yeah, you guys have got to watch for this.
I've loved the whole fact that this is something I look forward to every week. I get excited about, we're going to watch this movie. And the fact that I get to see all these movies that I haven't seen before and rewatch something that I just loved, or getting to see Bruce watch something that he's never seen and then see whether or not he likes it. A few of them he's liked, I think, that I picked that he hadn't seen before. So,
yeah,
it's been fun.
Quite a few.
I value guys' opinions on film.
Right.
It's awesome because like we don't have that hive mentality of we gotta think and act all the same, and that's great. Differences of opinion, different perspectives.
Yeah, I like that.
It makes these shows so awesome. It makes viewing movies awesome because then you're positing questions like I would have never thought of that, and here's a different opinion on it, and now I gotta think about that, and it adds to the depth of these movies.
Multiple eyes also allow
and the viewing pressure
things that could easily go missed by one set of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love. He's having connection issues again.
Yeah.
I absolutely love, like, in the way of torturing somebody as a way to kill them, putting a whole bucket of fish to counterbalance their weight above water while they're covered in chains. That is definitely a nasty way to kill somebody.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things that I found out about certain things about, like that one movie that I think it's your second most watched movie about the Chinese guy or whatever is fighting his way through the building.
No, you're talking about the Raid.
Yeah, the Raid. Okay, and then there's the Raid 2 too, right? But that was really good. I thought it was a really good movie, and I had never even heard of it.
Those movies are really good because the director wanted to make a martial arts film with martial artists, not stuntmen. The focus was on people that actually know martial arts. We want to know people that will be able to take a punch if there needs to be a punch that has to have an impact, because the camera is not going to babysit or to allow for any garbage. And when I say garbage, I mean shaky cam. And fuck you, Bourne Supremacy trilogy. You fucking ruined that action movies for a decade until we got the Raid. And after that, I just stopped watching everything with Jason Statham, because everything with Jason Statham, God bless the man, but he writes, he doesn't do his own stunts too well. They have to do shaky cam or quick cam or whatever you call it, and they do quick cuts, because every time a actor gets punched, they stop with the impact. Whereas the Raid movie, it would show you the impact and it'd show you the recovery from the opposer, and it would be this fluid scene. You would watch. The only time they have a cut is when they actually need to show you a better angle of the action as the two position themselves a different way with a new set of throws or kicks that they do. It's great. Anyway.
But yeah, thank you to everybody who wanted to hang out with us for a little while. Appreciate it.
I want to say thank you to Jackie Blue for coming in. I don't know if you'll like this movie. I don't really know you that well. One of our family. So
I don't know. I think it'd probably depend on the mood.
I think the mood is definitely something that's going to be heavily dependent. If you're in a shit mood, don't watch this movie. If you're in a mood, explore.
Find the movie and then get something that will lighten the mood, like Kentucky Fried Movie, Groove Tube, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Hamburger.
Yeah.
Like something to offset the awkwardness, because it's not for everybody. But it isn't a horrible movie.
It's got a lot of good stuff in it. I recommend it. Thank you once again to my guests today, Six Nation 31 Kings and the Crafting Gamer.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Gamer.
Thank you, Crafting, for coming up with this movie. This was awesome.
Yeah, I've never seen it, and I really enjoyed it.
Crafting, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What are you working on video-wise, or are you going to put that on hold for a bit?
I've put that on hold until I get a new computer.
Okay.
It is. I haven't tested it in a while, but I haven't actually tested it in over a month. But every time I tested it for a while, it would just crash every time I was editing a video, or the audio would go and I think it's my computer, because no one's complained about anything off of like that during a live stream.
Okay.
Is there something going on where people's computers are just dying?
Windows 11.
Planned
Seems like a lot of
obsolescence.
computer problems.
Computers suffer from planned obsolescence.
We would like to have.
So it's not like Chinese hacking or something recent. This is just aging tech.
That, and I've literally abused my computer using it for things it was never meant to, such as my 3D printing. It was never meant for such high graphic use.
Why are you killing me? Help, computer. Stop all the downloads.
Yeah, I would recommend if you can afford, like right now, there's some really good steals out there. We're getting into the school sales, the end of school sales, and if you can afford like $500, I know some people can or can't. $500 can get you a good tower unit. $500 gets you a tower unit that you can actually play Doom Eternal on at medium settings. You're not going to be rocking a super chip. You're going to have like what I have, a 4060 or 4060 Ti, but you're going to be able to run everything out there. And if you want to run it in 4K, you can do that too. But it all depends on what your needs are. I do recommend with 18 specs, you can try to find something that's in your budget. It'll keep you up for another 18 months to do that. I'm asking the board to give me a small lottery win so I can get maybe a brand new PC and an apartment. And I want an apartment with this, so I don't know. Maybe you'll have to move in Philadelphia down to the east side of San Antonio or the country so we can have Google Fiber. We're the first ones in our little burb to have Google Fiber. They drove that truck down here and have time. Now they're plotting we're going to school town. Yeah, I like school town. Dang, I can just see that. Okay. My name is Bruce. Thank you, Janet, for coming with me today on this small journey we did. Appreciate you putting up with my autism and Tourette's. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you being here. We'll be back next week to watch Janet's last summer movie, Jaws.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
I'm excited.